Hey, it's Tara with Reiki on the Run, and I want to do a video today about being yourself. I've been thinking about this a lot lately, and I think it's a really interesting topic. You'll hear people say that a lot. Oh, just be yourself, just be yourself. And I kind of want to dig into that and figure out what that means for you if you're just doomed to be yourself, why you are whatever that is yourself. And this isn't going to be as basic as my name is Tara and I'm 42 years old. And it's not going to be, so far out there as to be I am one with the universe. So we're going to be somewhere in the middle. So I have my notes down here, so I'll be looking down there. So I wanted to talk about first kind of what it means when you are just being yourself. And first of all, it's a lot of programs that we run. We end up being who we are because of where we grew up, who we grew up with, the people that were around us, our caretakers, our school systems, our neighborhood, all kinds of things. But if you look at yourself as coming into this world as a blank slate, like a blank brand new computer, and you spend the first 6 years, I talk about this, developing your subconscious. You're just a little recorder, and you just record everything that you see. And for about 6-7 years, you just record everything around you, and that becomes who you are. And it's like a computer. You just get all these programs to run on you, whether there's a certain religion that you're born into, if your parents are divorced, if there's all kinds of different things that can be thrown into that pot. But at the end of the day, it's how you were brought up. So, one person over here is brought up this way, one person's brought up that way, and they might not agree with each other, but to the people around them, they do. So, and knowing that it is kind of what was around you is really helpful, and knowing that it doesn't have to be that way is really helpful. And a lot of it too is shaped by who your parents told you you were. And I'm guilty of doing this with my kids. My parents did it to me. I had a very negative, I was a brat apparently. And I got told that all the time when I was little. I had nicknames, Bratiola, Tara the Terrible. And they would tell people all the time that was, that attitude I had or whatever preceded me when I went anywhere was something. It's the same as if you have a child who's shy, and every time you go somewhere and every new person you meet, you're like, oh, he's a little shy. And you kind of take that on. And kids are moldable, and they will also want to please, just like dogs do. And they will take what you say, and they will believe you, and they will bring it back to you just as you wish. So, you might have a kid that you're always saying, oh, he's so shy, and it kind of makes him believe it, and he says, okay, this is what I am. And even as this child grows, he may want to say things and speak out, but, remembering I'm shy. So, it's not always things that your parents might not necessarily have intended to push these things on you. I know, especially in an instant like that where it's about being shy, that a parent might be trying to protect their little one because maybe they have been shy at times, and they don't want them to feel awkward, don't want any weird interactions, but not realizing that constantly telling this child that they're shy could have an effect on who they are later on in life. So a couple of things to look at, because maybe you don't know who you are. Maybe you don't like who you are. Now, it's funny, I think that not knowing who you are, I remember years ago before I got off of Facebook and things like that, I had so many me's. I had church me, I had work me, I had my in-laws me, I had wife me, I had parent me, I had daughter, I had friends, and it seemed that there are so many different personalities. Not completely, I wasn't fake with everyone. I just felt, oh, I can say certain things around these people over here. I can say certain things around these people over here. I don't want to offend them over here. And so it really felt like I was just kind of all over the place, and I didn't even really know who I was. And so it's good to figure out who you are and changing that if you don't like it, because who you are is dynamic, but we'll get to that in a minute. So a couple good things to do to find out who you are and if this is what you want is to figure out why you are the way you are. Why do you act the way you act? Do you act a certain way because you were taught that? Do you believe, are you a Christian because your parents were and that's what they told you? Are you a certain political affiliation because that's what your parents told you? I know I didn't know anything about politics when I became of age to vote, and I would just click the box. I didn't vote at a young age, but I would, if I was asked, I would just check that box of what my parents were, and I just assumed that's what I was because that's what they were. I didn't really have those thoughts for myself. And so figuring out, are you the way you are? Do you hold a lot of your beliefs because of the way that you were brought up, that was what you were taught? Or another one, one that I adopted a lot of characteristics from, are you acting a certain way because you want to, in spite of someone else? Are you rebelling against your parents or society or whoever? Are you doing things just in spite of some rules or some people, which isn't really going to be yourself either, but it can become, it's like our belief systems are just things that we believe over and over again. And so it just becomes us, but it's not concrete. These things can change. So maybe you are acting out in ways that you don't necessarily want to, but have been in spite of others. And then another big one, are you doing things to fit in? Now, this one is huge. It's really, especially in a day when there's so much Instagram and wanting to put yourself out there to look acceptable and like you're doing good. But even without that, I know back in school was really tough, and I know when my kids were in public school and you had all the other parents around, do you do things just to fit in? Do you act certain ways? Do you dress certain ways because that's what everyone around you does? And it's really taking a good look at those things. Think of what am I wearing today? Am I wearing that because it really makes me feel good, or because that's what these girls that I want to be friends with me like to wear? So there's a lot of things that can go into who you are, and it's really looking at all those things to see, does that bring you joy? Is that something that you want to be? Is that something that makes you feel good? Or do you think it's making someone else feel good? So I have 3 things that you can work towards as you find out who you are, decide who you are, become who you want to be. And one of those is doing things that resonate with you. Sometimes that's hard. Sometimes we spent so long doing things for other people, either to please them or to piss them off, or to make yourself look good, to make yourself accepted. And so sometimes it's hard to even realize what resonates with you. What do I like? I think a lot of people experience that when they come out of long-term relationships, divorces, or just really long-term relationships where your life has revolved around someone else and you've made a lot of concessions to do what they want to do, to keep the peace, to make them happy because you want to make them happy. Lots of different ways that we will lose ourselves, or maybe we've, lots of kids, their parents want them to do so well, and they push them, and maybe they push them into college, into something they don't really want to study, and it can really go on for a long time, and you can really just live for someone else's decisions for a long time. So it really needs to resonate with you. Are you doing things because you enjoy them And finding things that do resonate with you, because it can be hard when you are so used to doing for others for whatever reason that is. So take some time to explore that, to see what resonates with you, what feels good, what movies do you enjoy, what places do you like to go to? Do you like to be alone? Do you like to be in a crowd? Figure these things out and do more of them. Another thing is, don't do things for other people. Don't dress for other people. Don't buy your vehicle because of other people. Don't work a certain job for other people. Really, really finding out what makes you tick. Are you doing these things, anything, for you, or are you doing for other people? If we all would just take care of ourselves, this would be a really happy place. But a lot of us feel like we need to do for others to make them happy. And it's not necessarily a negative thing. But really what that's saying too, a lot of the time, is if other people don't act the way I need them to, that I can't be happy. And we know that that's not true. And if we would all take responsibility for our own happiness, which is a really good idea because we know what makes us happy, we'd all be in a better place. But don't do things, don't act a certain way. Maybe you're the funny guy and you constantly have to be funny all the time, and you feel like you can't be serious and talk about things that really matter, or deep things, or break out of that mold that you've been put in, that you've put yourself in, that other people have put you in, and be true to yourself. Really, really important. And figure out who you want to be. I mentioned earlier, who you are is dynamic. You can figure out, who do I want to be? Like, I always had that bitch persona, that bratty little kid persona that I carried. I remember I brought my first and only boyfriend I ever brought home for dinner, and my stepmother was 16, and my stepmother says, I don't know how you can put up with her. She's such a bitch. I was just like, and I'm used to it. My boyfriend was really, really upset that she said that, but I was so used to it. And I had to come to a certain point, and not that I want to blame anybody for the way that I have acted and reacted to things over my life, but I had to break out of that. Do I just want to be aggressive? Do I want to be the one who's the loudest and gets everything because I'm so assertive? And is that really what I want? Is that what you want? Do you want to keep being the shy one, the funny one, the whatever you've been molded to be, or maybe even who you've wanted to be? And you can shift that. You can decide who you want to be and become that. Sometimes it's hard, especially around family and friends. If you've been around them for a long time, it's hard to break out of that because people peg you a certain way. Especially you live in small towns, man. People don't forget shit. But if you want to be something different, now's the time. Now's the time to decide who you'd like to be if you're not happy with yourself, whatever that is. And shift towards those characteristics. Shift towards being that person. See yourself as being that person. Live like that. And understand that change and growth is good. You don't have to stay the same. Change is good. Growth is good. I feel like a lot of people think that you have to be consistent and you have to be stuck in the same thing. Maybe you voted for the same party your whole life, and so did your parents, and so did your grandparents. And, maybe you don't want to vote that way, and that's okay. Change is good. When we learn new information and we grow, it's called evolution. It's called evolving. It's called getting better. And I don't think that's such a horrible thing. So don't feel like you need to be stuck in this, I'm this kind of person, this is how everybody knows me, I have to keep living up to this. Maybe, I've done this with drinking several times. I've been the life of the party many times, and it just doesn't always resonate with me, and I don't always want to do that. And maybe that's happened with you. You're just not that party person anymore, and you want to hang out and meditate or do yoga or, whatever it is that you want to do that's different. And your buddies are so used to you going out, and it's a hard thing. But I have to say, if there's one thing that has changed my life for the better, it's really starting to be who I want to be, who I resonate with, not doing everything for everybody else and what I think they want or society wants, or what are they going to think if I don't act this way, or and it's really, really rewarding. But I know it can be hard when you are surrounded by people who hold you to it, but you're the only one who can shift that. So anyway, I hope this helps. I don't know why I've been thinking about this so much lately, about being who you are. Who are you? What does that mean when people say, just be yourself? So yeah, think about that. Think about who it is that you are, the things that you do, what kind of changes you want to make, and go after them. So if this resonates with you, I have books and workbooks. There's always a link below. If this gave you some kind of aha moments and resonated, check those out. You might get some more of that. And it's good to see you guys. And if anybody hasn't told you today, I love you very, very much. And I will see you soon.